Okay, this is very odd. I feel I should be sleeping, lying down somewhere, just thinking to myself, one. But I'm going to be civil and I'm going to, yeah, you, I'm sitting here and it is obviously my duty to introduce two people who really need no introduction. Almost all writers at some point do, but, if you think back to the 70s, there was a moment when an actor goes in front of God and starts to tell God off. That actor says, how can you be doing this? How can you be a God? How can you possibly be a God and do this to me? And through my life, I thought that the first time someone ever did that, it was Amitabh Bachchan. But it wasn't. It's actually Sharmila Tagore in Aradhana. When she goes into the temple towards the end of the film, and she attacks God.
Not at all.
Yeah, but there's a
most certainly not.
Yeah, there is.
I was sort of pleading and crying and
but there is,
being so.
Yeah, it is Ninda Stuti.
Huh.
It is Ninda Stuti in a way. It is kind of saying you shouldn't be doing this to me. So in some senses, there were two Sharmila Tagores in my head. There was the unutterably beautiful Sharmila Tagore who whisked through the series of cotton candy romances. I remember that bikini in
this is such a myth. I mean, everybody says that I was in a bikini in a film, which I never was. Because all of you are so young that you've forgotten what the actual facts are.
I think we airbrushed the swimming
It
costume
was actually in a Filmfare cover.
Oh.
Filmfare cover was the I can't hear you now.
Yeah.
Hearing is very selective.
Okay.
Now you'll get your chance to talk. It's my turn now.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it was in the Filmfare cover and they carried these pictures and I wore one piece. Actually, I wanted to wear a bikini, but Shakti sort of said, Rinku, just behave yourself and this is enough. I don't want any problem and it's swimming costume. But I was water skiing, so I couldn't be in a sari. So that you accept.
And on the other side, we have Shreya Saran, whose most recent appearance is in Midnight's Children. Before that, we've seen her, and so this is another thing. I mean, here's Sharmila Tagore, who's been in a Satyajit Ray film, in Satyajit Ray films, who's been in Gulzar films, for instance, Mausam, where, she unwittingly is vamping her own father. Played by the magnificent actor Sanjeev Kumar. And here is Shreya Saran, who acts with Imran Hashmi in Avarapan, and then, is in a Salman Rushdie film, Midnight's Children, which is practically as literary as it gets. So my question to the two of you is, obviously this is Maya Nagari big time. It is, this kingdom of dreams and illusions full on. How did you maybe you could start, what should I say, Sharmila Ji?
Whatever.
Sharmila Ji. I feel happily Bollywood suddenly. Gosh, I've arrived. How did you manage this transition between hardcore, working with Satyajit Ray and then working with, say, Shakti Samanta?
Well, different genre of films, really. One, of course, privileges realism over, for want of a better word, commerce. But that's not true, because everybody who makes a film wants their film to be seen and to make money. So that's not the criteria. But regional films have an advantage, because it's the same language, same clothes. So there is, you can identify easier. So then it's possible to stick to realism. Whereas Hindi films is sort of pan-India, and the main ingredient is to keep everybody happy. So the maidservant is wearing ghagra choli, the lady is wearing a sari, the husband is wearing yet another dress, and different language and yet there is a commonality and it touches everybody. Where if you're watching a film in Assam or in Chennai or in Kashmir, exactly the same place, people cry, people laugh, people get bored, exactly the same reaction. So when I was working in regional films in Bengali, natural progression was to come to the national scene. So that's what I did. And it wasn't difficult. Of course, it was difficult, but it was natural. Hindi films had songs, which was a big challenge to me, because there I was trying very hard to be sexy and, what have you. But, lip sync, somebody else is singing, and then you have to, that was a huge challenge for me. So that I found, and of course the language, being Bengali, everybody, and those days, today everybody gets a script in Roman. Us waqt it was in Devanagari, because I had Sanskrit, I could read that. But everybody used to get after me, kaf and gaf, and now to nobody cares. It's English is spoken, So that was very different. Other than that, it's quite easy to say that Hindi film does not require skills. People sort of bash Hindi films, look down on Hindi films, but it's not so. It requires a different set of skills. And I think I had to learn those. So yes, to that extent. But I don't think they're comparable as such.
So, Shreya, G.
Shreya.
No.
I think the difference between what's interesting is I'm a big fan of yours. I think you have the
We
most
all are.
beautiful smile. With her and me was, when I did regional cinema, I did mostly commercial cinema. Whereas when Midnight's Children happened, or I did another one, Cooking with Stella, or even Imran's film, is not very commercial. It was more on artistic. So for me, it was different transition. For me, from trying to look sexy to
Trying.
doing dance sequences. I'm back to.
And it's sexy, and she's saying trying to
I'm
be
here to, it's a total change. I had to unlearn everything I'd ever learned while doing so many films here, do workshops, and just totally change myself and learn a different kind of acting, which for me was a wonderful transition, and I loved it.
So, let's just step back into the notion of storytelling. In the popular mind, in all our minds, all us fanboys and, people who read Stardust and whatnot, there is the story session, where everyone sits together and they tell you the story and someone sings and someone else is... did that used to happen?
You mean whether we were told the story earlier?
Yeah,
Normally, if it was a remake of a film, we were told that, see that film, and this is what we are going to do. And when actually it happened, it was completely different,
Oh, good.
And no, there was no such thing as scripts. Dialogues used to be written on the set. And being a Bengali, it was how challenging that was, because I had the words, because as I said, I had Sanskrit. But in Bengali, we don't have gender. So, khidki khulti hai ya khulta hai was impossible for me. And those days, again, we didn't do so much dubbing. Now the entire film is dubbed, but not so those days. So no, I don't think, barring a few. Of course, the Ray films that I worked, everybody had a script, including the driver. So there was lots of that, and rehearsals and everything. But in Hindi films, I do not think, later on, a couple of films had scripts. But otherwise, it was always last minute. I don't know why they found that profitable. And to just go back, since I've straddled both regional films and Bombay films, which no doubt gave me more visibility, when I worked in Bengali films, they would say, this is not, those days Bollywood the name hadn't gained currency. This is not Hindi film, so don't take a little time, just, react and feel it. And when I came to Bombay, they would say, do you think it's a Ray film, for God's sake? Why are you taking so long? So I had to sort of change gear.
Into the mic.
But it's very strange why they don't come prepared on the set. Whereas Ray had everything, and especially for economic reasons. The entire script was written, he knew what frames he wanted, he was in control of everything. And there was never enough money to do more than 3 shots, max, really. And films were very expensive. We couldn't really afford that. But here, it was different. Everything was sort of they had a general idea. But despite that, they made excellent films.
Yeah. So, you know, from the Bombay experience, we've always told in the 1980s, I think, Tamil cinema greats began to use Bombay films, stars, and make films. We've always told that they were very, very professional. That, you know, films got done in 21 days, cut to cut, perfectly done. So was that your experience with Tamil cinema? Malayalam cinema with the region?
Well, one of the reasons why that's done is because you have limited budget and you announce the release date when you announce the film. So you have to finish the film in so many days so that the film is out, and theaters are booked beforehand. Now people love films here and they wait for the film of their favorite actor, and films are generally hero oriented. So they wait for their favorite hero's film to come out. So that's the primary reason, and they have to stick to time. And of course, people are very professional. That's also a kind of trait they have. So, served in my house because I love them so much. But yeah, most of the times, like she said, films are written on the spot. And I think one of the main reasons is that in 2002 is when industry was recognized as an industry. And before that, so now when you have studios and you have to take money from the banks, you have to have a script which you give to the banks. Otherwise, you know, no one is going to lend you money. And you have to have a script before you, today studios have to have a script before they can verify if it's stolen from somewhere else. Or if it's, you know, if they have to pay royalty to someone else, and all that has to be, it's because of that, I think. Also, actors demand scripts now. But I have had really bad experiences sometimes when I turn around and say, I know this is the hero, I know this is the producer, I know it's a brilliant film, but can I know the script? And, you know, they just disappear. They think it's insulting them.
So
It's happened.
the question I'm always perplexed by, because most of the time when you're watching commercial cinema, you can see, and I can see that the actors are actually doing a good job, meaning within the realms of that. You know, for instance, I'm thinking about most grade A films, there are competent performances on screen. How do you prepare if you've been told your lines like, you know, 1 hour before you go on stage? What's this?
No, they give us a hearing, they tell the story. Obviously, otherwise how can you sign a film? So they come, I mean, in my time, a film used to take some time to, except for Chopra Saab and a few other director-producers, quite a few films, because the money wasn't in place. So a film took sometimes 3 years to make. And now, as Ms. Saran says, that, you know, it's much more professional. So there is accountability, etc. And the films are made quickly. You work at one film at a time. We were working in 3-4 films at a time. So and then to come back to your question, is even more difficult, because suppose you want to have like if Amir Khan grows a mustache for a film, or so he has that look. Whereas we didn't. Suppose I had long nails in one, and the 7 to 2 I was shooting in, and then 2 to 10, how could I have a clipped nail in that? So yes, it was challenging. But we had a hearing, a story, when I was given the whole thing, and that is when you got the feeling of the character, of the plot, and then the rest came later. As I said, it sort of kept changing, and the scenes were written, but you had a fair idea, and you could prepare. You know, like Mausam was very challenging, so.
And also I feel that the different ways of making a film. You can have a brilliant script and sometimes never turns out to be a good film. And sometimes you don't have it, and the director just keeps that one door open always and writes something more interesting and adapts to the situation. Sometimes it starts raining outside, you have to change the scene. So I guess it's different styles of filmmaking. But yes, like she said, yeah, we have story discussions where we are explained the entire story to, I mean, everyone knows what's going on.
Maybe they never took us very seriously, perhaps. They all had it very clear in their mind what they were going to do. We were just left in the dark. What do you think?
No, but I'm thinking of something like Daag, for instance. Say you're going to prepare to be, you know, this second wife. You know, so, and then there's a earring scene where someone's holding up your earring and you're standing in front of that camera and you have to be guilty because you are Rajesh Khanna's. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How do you manage to conjure up a possible...
Because they're so brilliant, obviously. No, but it is clear. You have all day to prepare. You are in discussion with your director. He talks to you. Sometimes the script writer, the person who's writing the dialogues, is also on the set. So in between, you get I mean, it is not ideal, obviously. It is not ideal. But it's not too bad either. And you have time to think about it. And while you are shooting those 10 days with them, you have ample time to prepare yourself. Yeah, I know, but that's how, I think that everything boils down to economics, and that's how the industry was at that time.
Also, I feel, that, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the longest time, Indian cinema was about, I think even today also, the films are made about people who are 21 to 25. An actress always has to be 21, cannot be 30 ever, 35, forget it. And a hero, even, for instance, I feel like, look at today's example. I feel Aamir Khan is a wonderful looking actor, was a brilliant actor, but even he has to play a role of a college student. So I'm saying those kind of, where are the stories for someone who's 40, 50, which means you only have 10 years or 15 years to just churn out films. So, and you can't have the luxury of preparing 1 year for a film. Like Lincoln, the actor got like 2 years to prepare. You can't do that. That means in 10 years you'll be churning out, what, 5 films? Which is not possible. So you have to make loads of films. You have to churn out. It's only window you have to make your money, to make good films. So you don't have that much time to prepare.
Okay, so, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the positioning of women in cinema vis-a-vis the amount of violence to women that we are now seeing foregrounded after the incidents in Delhi. So I was wondering whether, you know, Sharmila ji, Shreya, whether you've seen any changes in how women are portrayed and how you are, you know, how you're told about your character. Do they just say, you're a college girl and you fall in love with this, you're a rich girl, you fall in love with this guy?
Honestly, most of the time, yeah. You're a bubbly girl, you're cheerful, oh, you have 6 songs. I'm not kidding, yeah, mostly, yeah. Maybe ma'am will be a better one to answer this, but what I've seen cinema or whatever films I've seen, I don't think things have really changed. Like I was reading a brilliant article which says that actresses have to portray 4 roles, which is Kamini, Bharya, Ramani and Jaya. You know, so you have to have those 4, and it's basically under those roles. And even if it's a heroine-oriented film, she's doing stuff which you would see a hero doing. Or if it's a biography where they are making fun of the person. It's not a true biography. It's not that it's glorifying the sexual aspect of an actress. She is there to please the male audience. She's there to beautify the story. Forget about the fact that a hero is paid more than a heroine. No matter how hard she or harder she works, she has to look slim and trim. She has to be beautiful. And it's those things haven't really changed. I don't know. There are few films which are being made today, like Kahani maybe, or English English. But those one film in 5 years doesn't mean the things have changed. Can we make an Iron Lady today? No. Do we have heroine-oriented films where it's not that she's bold and beautiful and she's wearing sexy clothes? No, she is a woman of someone who stands up for what she believes in. She believes in her thoughts and she takes the right choices. No, those kind of films will not work. If a woman is a prostitute or if she's raped, popular cinema, she'll die in the end, or our hero will come and avenge her. Or if she's a prostitute, she will be left behind. So a woman who's making her own choices, no, I don't think so.
Sure.
Well, I agree with her because it is a patriarchal construct. Once upon a time in the 1930s, we made different. There was Fearless Nadia, you remember? She didn't need a male star. She was a box office draw on her own. Durga Khote didn't even change her name. She was a Brahmin, but she made films like Duniya Na Mane, which was a very, very forward-looking film. And there was Devika Rani. I mean, these were wonderful, emancipated women. And they got their money from mythological films, and they invested it in this kind of films. Then came the war, and the values changed, the black money entered, and then the stardom started with Ashok Kumar. Then there was Dilip Kumar, Raj Kapoor, and Dev Anand. And then there was three different kinds of films. In the 70s, there were the Pune Institute guys coming in and making films like Ankur, Bhumika, etc., Chakra. And then there was the middle of the, like Gulzar, Rishikesh, that kind of films, the boy next door kind of films were being made. And then Angry Young Man of Amitabh Bachchan. Then the 80s were the pits. They had lots and lots of stars, and the advent of television changed everything. So then the cinemas got glammy and, digital sounds, etc., to get the audience back. 90s, when more and more women were going out to work. We were the first generation of working people. And the working itself was frowned upon. And then we were working in films, so we were doubly frowned upon, right? And it was huge double standard. When the women wore white, they sipped Coca-Cola laced with whatever, but it was Coke. And they didn't talk to anybody except the director, the producer, and the actor. Even the cameraman didn't come into the periphery of our vision. So we were stars, we didn't smile, and we didn't do anything. I mean, it was quite strange. So in the 90s, more and more women were going out to work. But there was not a single working person depicted in films. In all my life, I've worked in Safar, the film, where I play a doctor, and Duriyan, where I play an actor. Otherwise, it's not. And all these Nehas and Suman, beautifully attired, because waiting for their Prince Charming to get married. Marriage was the only passport to life, and a career woman was portrayed as somebody who's a home breaker. So the message was that a woman's place is at home. The moment she goes out to work, she cannot make herself happy, nor can she make anybody else happy. The moment the woman is introduced or gets connected with a man, then she becomes part of the collective. And then it is, again, the honor of she has to put the community and the family and the community before herself. If she follows her own individual needs, then she is a baddie. Okay, so that's how the films, it endorses the stereotype. What exists in society, that's what you find. It mirrors life.
Okay, so tell me, I mean, both of you are obviously, feisty women who see this so clearly. So when you're listening to a script where you're told that you have 6 songs and you're this happy, cheerful, bright little kitten bunny who is going to jump about, what goes through your head?
See, there are two ways of looking at it. A, if you don't do commercial cinema, you cannot do art cinema in today's world. It needed a dirty picture for Kahani to become a hit. And that's the reality today. You have to be part of commercial cinema so that you're saleable, as they say. And then you can do something which is creative and creative cinema. But it's very hard otherwise. Secondly, I mean, sometimes you do put your foot down, but it's not just about 6 songs, or it's not just about 5 scenes. It's about, like she said, like ma'am said, there's a lot of films she's done where, like I can't get over one of her films where, it starts with your face, with Durga Puja, and it's just your face, Devi. And it starts with, Devi, and it starts with that. Even though then you are a homebound home lady, just staying at home, there were a lot more substance to the roles. And I feel today what's going wrong is either it's all it's complicated. Like if you wear a short skirt, you're a, you're a vamp or whatever. You wear like she said, the demarcations. It's gone a little weird. There's no substance really. It's you're a bold lady, or if you're smoking, or if you're doing this, you're doing that. You're definitely a bad woman. So the roles are not. Even those 5 scenes can be scenes where you're dignified and you have respect given to you as a lady, but that doesn't happen. Lyrics written are weird. And how much can you fight about, I don't want to dance on this lyric? How much can you fight about, I don't want to do this film? Because the reality is, if you don't do, someone else will do. And you have only that much window. And how much can you fight?
Not just that, it comes at the very last minute. The songs are recorded, and it's playing in the, and then when the actual, she's probably hasn't even heard the song, let's say. And then you come to the set, and then you are confronted, you're given all these things. And if you then say no, it's at the 11th hour, the set is erected, and there is you probably will get sued or something. So it is very difficult unless you write in your contract that if the lyrics are like this, I will not do it. So that is a possibility that when you are right at the beginning, you make some stipulation.
But what happens, say, I'm thinking about...
a lot of times, I've been part of films where the scenes are just written on the set, and they're like, you have to do this. They've taken me to... I've had huge issues, I've fought, I did this, I did that, but it boils down to, fine, let me just do it,
Yeah.
Because the times have changed. If you remember Helen, are we digressing? I think we're good. Because if you remember all the vamps, because once upon a time, because Hindi films always found a way of telling their story. Because their target audience, as I said, was pan-Indian, and they wanted to please everybody. As Ashish Nandi says, that a film becomes popular because there is something in it for everybody. So when they tell the story, they keep all section of the audience happy. So what they cannot say through the heroine, or what they couldn't say through, now again the times have changed, they said it through the vamp or the villain, right? Yeah. So Helen, Bindus and others did, the Shashikalas did that sort of thing. But Helen's songs, for instance, when you hear them, they're beautiful songs. There is no sort of, but now there is a kind of a dearth of language. The vocabulary has shrunk. The vocabulary has become completely unromantic or, for want of a better word, vulgar, perhaps. I know these things are matter of taste. What's my poison could be somebody else's nectar. So I have no idea. But I most certainly find them vulgar. But those, people are loving it. And women are dancing to it. Children are dancing to it. Recently, I went to open a school function. All these girls were dancing to it in my honor. So I told them, if you want to honor me, please don't sing these songs. So I don't know. So I think you have to look at society because, as I said, this is a money-making. The whole enterprise is to make money. So you give it what people want, really.
Yeah.
And this is somehow there is a change. Everybody is wanting, sex and violence, and the women they've always been secondary and decorative. At least in my time, forget the 30s, but I got some good roles. The regional films were wonderful, but other than that, even if you look at Aradhna or Amar Prem, for instance, if I had become a very successful singer and got married again and lived happily ever after, the film wouldn't have run for 2 weeks. But because I was so self-sacrificing, and of course, and actually the films have the subtext of Aradhna is that your biological family may not be there, but you have formed a family. This son that I love is not really my son, and yet the relationship. And the man that is closest to me is not my husband, but yet. So I think those are the things, and anything that has lived on in public memory, and the public continues to revisit, the 4th generation is revisiting and liking it, there has to be something. So we must understand the popular taste and understand what that is. But I keep going back that if you're looking at any fault or anything, don't just target the women, for God's sake. you know? I mean, I was coming in the plane when I was coming back, and there was 3 television thing was on in this Air India plane. And they were all silent, and I was watching them all one by one, because I love watching, reading other people's newspaper, and, you know. So I was doing that. And I think Salman Khan in Dabang, I presume it was Dabang, Chulbul Pandey, was far more provocative and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to even use the word as, you know. So I think in a very art film, the sexism exists. Ishq Zadeh, I think, is a very sexist film. And so if you really look at, I think item songs are the least of the problem. Sure. And then you're just taking the agency away from, when you're talking about the violence away from the perpetrator and going back to the women again. I think the women's body is a problem. That's what, you know, you feel is the root of all evil. But look at the dialogues, look at what the men are doing. Look at the ads, for instance. I mean, the men are riding cycles and motorcycles and cars. Women, sari-clad, are selling kitchen products, washing machine and whatever, what have you. Again, the message is your place is in the kitchen, at home, and they are mobile. They can go whatever. So, you know, these are the things that you have to really look at society, and unless that changes, I mean, Amitabh Bachchan ke liye people are writing stories, he's still getting. There's no such stories being written. Katharine Hepburn got roles. Yahan pe, as Ms. Saran says, the life stops at 30. So you have to see the demand of because the feel that is the stars, the male star brings the audience into the theatre. So they are the ones who have to get paid more. Unke liye role likha jata hai, whether it's Amir, age 50, playing a college, whereas a woman has to be eternally beautiful. You're reducing her to only her looks, therefore taking away from her other qualities, diminishing her, objectifying her. And in that pretext, there's so many, all these obscene posters, etc., because you're not even interested in her mind or in her other qualities. So that's your society. I mean, audience also have to share some responsibility.
Okay,
True.
I'm going to ask both of you. Any signs of hope?
Any signs of hope? Like, I agree with her. It's more than cinema, I think, is the ads, because you're exposed more to the ads than the cinema. Honestly, you watch a film once in a week or maybe once in a month, but you watch those ads all the time. Media, what you watch on TV all the time. A small incident is blown into, like, if it's women involved, it's just not, I don't think it's treated in a way it should be treated. Objectifying a woman. Now, how can you blame an actress for that? It's just, if you look at the history, you know, what are the different influences on cinema? Literature, mythology, of late Hollywood, theater. Now, everywhere, woman was used as an object, for sexual pleasure, to beautify the film, like I said. So it's a sea of change that has to come. Also, if something goes wrong in the society, everyone has to be blamed. Now, if I don't do a film, someone else will do. Now, that's not the point. Someone else might do and can do if I don't want to do. But the thing is, the point is, people are watching those films. Those films are becoming a hit. So, we make what sells. And cinema is also an art of making money, end of the day. You know, you make a film because you want a film to be seen on mass, or you want a film to be seen by everyone, you want it to go abroad, overseas, you wanted to make lots of money. And if people are watching that, what can you really do?
No, I think I would be hopeful. Why not? There are a lot of new directors, because I'm a born optimist. And actually, the regional films, again, are getting, there's a huge trend now, at least the Bengali films that I know, are doing very well. They are bringing in money. And if the economics is right, like Kahani was a small budget film and many others like that, and if the economics is right, these films do make money. Yeah. And they can take that risk. And Kahani, for instance, was definitely a different film. And, but again in that film, there was that scene where she cries and she said, I felt so real when I was carrying the baby. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for that scene. But the director sometimes loses faith. Like even Dirty Picture, at the end, the director loses faith and makes her a victim. You know, and there was no reason for her to say that, oh, I felt so real because I felt I was carrying my baby. Just to make her a little bit more feminine, because she had shot this man. And so that, he thought, will not be accepted by the audience. Therefore, she was made to. And then that Amitabh Bachchan lines that Durga comes once in a while to earth. Again, there was no scene. And there was a beautiful ending when the image is, you know, the going down and the breast is heaving and you don't know, you know, I think that was a beautiful cinematic end. But the director feels scared and he compromises at the end. So but I think the audience taste has to change. But a lot of small budget films are doing it, and because of multiplexes, they are getting released, and there is a constituency, a committed niche audience, but then you cannot charge crores for that film. But like speaking for myself, I went back to regional films, and those films I didn't get paid for. But it has created longevity, and I'm remembered for those films. And the films that I acted, you know, I took lakhs for, maybe it's forgotten in people's memory. So I think you, as an actress, as a person who's really fond of or passionate about one's work, you do some films that will please yourself and some to pay the rent. So I think that kind of compromise has to be.
Okay,
Actually, I love the way she said, some for keeping yourself happy, some to pay the rent. And I do agree with her that, yeah, there is a hope, and films can be women-oriented with strong character and strong message. But I'm just hoping for a day where a kahani could make as much money as Dabangg could.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I want to ask you one last question before we throw it open to the house. You've been deeply involved in the creative side of making films. What was it like being on the censor board?
It was a learning curve, because whatever I do, I try to do professionally, and I saw CBFC as an enabling body between the civil society and the films and the government on one hand. So I tried to do that, and I think I was successful to some extent, because sometimes in the government people get very paranoid and very worried what will be the impact of this. And those days, if you remember, when I took over, everybody was laughing at the censor board. We were the butt of, you know, this scissor-wielding, cut-happy people, you know, we were just chopping off scenes just for the fun of it. But I think there is a bigger responsibility out there, and of course the freedom of speech is very much guaranteed. But I think, with due respect, often the people, the producers, directors do not make film for the public interest as such. It is made for self-interest and self-economic interest, which sometimes is in conflict with national interest or all India interest. And there is, yes, and I firmly believe that regulation, a little bit of regulation is important, and that is what the civil society really want. And ideally, you should self-regulate. But what happened on television? Television doesn't have a censor board. Television is 95. It very clearly says you have to self-regulate. Have they done that? The answer is no. So, like if there was no traffic light, if there was no income tax, whatever, nobody would pay tax. Nobody would stop at traffic light. There's chaos if the traffic light goes. So I think the little bit of directions, little bit of control is necessary. But you're right, the day of internet and all that, you really can't stop people. And on the other hand, you cannot treat, 65 years later, you cannot treat our citizen as imbecile and stupid. They have to judge for that. They have to grow up at some time. But censorship exists. I mean, look at children at home. Do you allow them to run muck? Some do, but don't you say, ye mat karo beta, ye mat karo. So you have to conform, you have to, we are gregarious, we live in society and community, and you cannot do certain things. If I feel like here screaming, stripping, I mean, I have to, be part of that society. So censorship exists everywhere, even at home, everywhere. But you have to gauge where and how,
Okay, now I'm going to open it to the audience. Can we have the house lights, please? Now, you as an audience have been wonderful. You've asked lovely questions. But there are some of you who are beginning to become regular questioners. Okay, I want those people to please not ask this time. Exercise some self-censorship and allow other people who have been silent to get their turn. Now, okay, will you put up your hands, please? There's a gentleman over there. There's Ranveer Shah in the front. Yeah, and okay, we'll come to you. We don't have much time. Make your question crisp.
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask was that with more and more women filmmakers coming into Bollywood, do you feel that the role and the importance of women in cinema will change? Maybe it's a trickle effect. It'll take time.
Okay, who is the question to?
Both of them, actually.
Okay, would you answer that, ma'am? The role of female filmmakers in cinema. And then, Shreya, would you
I
answer?
don't see it like that. It could be, but it depends if the woman really is interested in making money or has a... I would not say just because she's a woman, she'll make more, woman-friendly or woman-oriented film. Because they're always, most of them are signing big, except for...
No, I think most of them are signing big ones, you're right. Reema Kagti just...
Kalpana. Kalpana Lajmi is probably focused, and I'm just forgetting. But I'm sure there are a lot of women directors who are. But like Farah Khan and others are just making usual films, aren't they?
Okay. Shreya.
I've only worked with two lady directors, Deepa Mehta and Rupa Iyer. So I feel when you work with women directors, yes, they are a little more sensitive about certain issues. Their level of understanding certain things is different. Of course, it's a man-woman difference. But I don't know. I mean, I hope that happens with more women coming in the industry and more women on sets. From the time I started to now, I feel there are more women around, not just as directors, but as camerawomen, as set designers, as assistants. It's nicer to see them around.
Ranveer.
Share with us about the wonderful initiative that you work with the blind people in the spa. I think it would be great for the audience to know.
Okay, so... Okay.
I used to work in blind school in Delhi, which is in front of my school, DPS Mathura Road. When I shifted to Bombay, me and my mom decided to do something because the world that we live in is very visual. It's very difficult for anyone who's blind or visually challenged to do anything. The country we live in is, forget about visually challenged, is very handicap. It's not handicap friendly. Even the best of the best 5-star hotels don't have rooms or even restrooms sometimes to use for physically handicapped people. Forget about roads and trains. There's no help ever. You don't see them at airports, restaurants. You find them behind closed doors. They never ever come out of their houses most of the times, unless they're from really good families. So this is a small initiative where we employ visually challenged people to come and work in the spa. They are blessed with sense of touch. And they're fantastic therapists. So everyone who work in the spa are visually challenged. 3 of them are totally blind, and other three are partially blind. They work in they help each other, and it's beautiful how they travel 2 hours every day, come to the spa, travel back 2 hours, manage the entire spa by themselves, and have detected people with lumps in their breast, with people who couldn't walk. They've helped people to walk, and it's just sometimes when people come and talk to them even for 5 minutes, just makes them very happy, and it's wonderful to see how brilliant they are.
Can I ask a question?
There's a question here about Vishwarupam, and then you'll get your question.
You know, frankly, I haven't seen the film, so I really don't want to comment at length. But in a democracy, I think, and especially when the CBFC had issued this certificate, it should have been allowed to be screened, because the first 3 days, as everybody knows now, I think most people know more about films than we do now, because it's crucial for business, and when a person has invested that kind of money. But again, this film, I think, is a very typical film, trying to please everybody. There are lots and lots of bad Muslims, and the hero is a very good Muslim. So while you're endorsing the stereotypical image of Muslims, you are also being the good Muslim, so you are offsetting. So again, I mean, I thought he's going to ask us about the script and how we tell stories, how we said, My Name is Khan. We took a very relevant subject and we placed it in America. So the people who perpetrated those things didn't feel threatened because it's happening in America. So, you know, so we find a way of telling our stories without offending anybody, but the net results becomes a little wishy-washy, and I think the box office result has shown that, I think, am I right in saying that it has not doing very well. So I think, but despite whether it's a mischievous film or it's a popular film or it's a hodgepodge film, whatever it is, but I don't think there are other forums where we can debate, whether we can discuss this, and banning is absolutely not the answer.
Okay, one last question and it's a wrap.
Hello, good evening. I'm the editor of East Times. My name is Swati. I have one question for Shamila Tagore. My question is, are there any existing provisions in the Indian Cinematograph Act that makes the certification of the censor board final and binding upon all the stakeholders? If
Thank
not,
you.
do
Yes,
believe it should be
once the
there?
CBFC gives a certificate, even the minister cannot change that. It is absolutely binding. Was that the question?
Yeah. And that is the last question that we'll allow. Thank you very much, Ms. Tagore. Thank you very much, Ms. Saran. I think I have, I mean, you know, you were both extremely honest and straightforward. I expected to be you know, sort of excavating answers, but you both came forward as...
But you didn't ask us about so many, you know, but storytelling.
This is because I'm hoping that we'll have another encounter at which I will ask the questions that went unanswered.
Well, thank you
so
and
much.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.